Yo, what is up, boys? Welcome to another comprehensive guide for the Vengeance Demon Hunter. I know it's a bit late, it's 735, BFA is coming out, but I thought this might be helpful. Maybe you want to do a Mythic Plus, maybe you want to push high keys before the next expansion launches, maybe you've considered this tank, maybe you want to play it as an alt, maybe you want to make it your new main. So I'm gonna try in this guide and show you the ropes to the Vengeance Demon Hunter. This has been my main tank for Legion. I enjoyed my Demon Hunter a lot this expansion. I'm going to be playing it in the next expansion as well as my main. It's a pretty fun tank. It's a pretty strong Mythic Plus tank. So I'm going to try to explain you how to play a Demon Hunter tank. So let's start with the talents. Level 99 Abyssal Strike. Infernal Strike's range is increased by 10 yards and its cooldown is reduced by 8 seconds. This is an amazing thing in Mythic Plus or in any tanking scenarios. It gives you a lot of mobility. You can jump wherever you want to jump. You have a higher range of jumping. You maybe have a problem in which you're gonna die, so you're just gonna jump out of it. If it's, I don't know, you want to kite necrotic, or you just stand in something bad, or you have to run away from the other people and you just want to do it fast. Abyssal Strike is a great talent. It gives you a ton of mobility. I have again 2 stacks, as you can see it. Bam! For the second talent, I usually go with Fallout, because you always use Immolation Aura when you get inside a group of mobs, and it will give you many soul shards in which we can use with Spirit Bomb or Soul Cleave, which we're gonna cover a bit later. And basically you use Immolation Aura on cooldown, so why not have a shard with it so you can heal with it or damage the enemy. Flame Crash, another great talent. So I told you use a lot of Infernal Strikes to just go from place to place. Maybe you want to jump to the boss fast, maybe you want to get away from a dangerous spell, maybe you need to kite. But what if, when you kite or when you jump to a boss, you get a Sigil of Flame for free? Sigil of Flame is a sigil that activates at a target location and deals fire damage and puts a dot that deals fire damage over time on anyone standing in it. So when you use it, it will trigger a sigil. You can use this on mobs as well because you can damage them with the Infernal Strike and with the Sigil of Flame. You can refresh it by doing it again or just using the sigil. Great DPS dealer for Mythic Plus. Your group will love you for that. At 104, Fracture. Brutally slam your target. This is like a main DPS ability, like a main strike, like a Crusader strike, like Zeal, like Ambush, I don't know. You slam your target, you generate a lot of soul fragments. You generate soul fragments and then you go with the Spirit Bomb, in which I will cover later. On the next row, many people go with Sigil of Chains. That's good. Enemies are snared, the reduced movement is very good, but I usually go with Quickened Sigils. You can go on any one of them, you cannot go wrong with either one, I say. Probably in some fortified scenarios you would want Sigil of Chains. But usually I go Quickened Sigils because the sigils trigger faster, and maybe let's say I want to fear a group of mobs. So I put my sigil right here, I fear a mob really fast. Or I want to interrupt them all, I use the other Sigil of Wisdom and I interrupt them all. Oh boy, at the level 108. Until 7.2 I went with Fell Devastation, because it was a great spell to keep me alive. When I had any problem, I would use Spell Devastation and it would damage the enemy and heal me for a big chunk of health. You can still use this if you feel like you're not resisting enough.
Not tough enough, I guess.
If you feel like the fight is overwhelming for you and you're sitting in place and you need that. But I usually go with Spirit Bomb. Spirit Bomb is like the flavor now. You consume Umber fragments from the target. Obviously, you get the fragments from the Fracture and Immolation Aura with the Fallout talent, so that's even more. And by consuming them, you damage enemies around you for a ton of damage, and you place a dot on them that whenever they attack you, you will be healed. What I usually do with Spirit Bomb when a hard fight, I use Spirit Bomb and then I use Soul Cleave for whatever souls are remaining after I trigger the Soul Bomb. For the last talent, I usually go with Soul Barrier. It's a great mitigation ability. You can use a lot of souls, you can generate a lot of souls because you use Fracture and Immolation Aura. You can use the Soul Barrier whenever you need a big shield, you know, like when it was with Kil'jaeden, the 5th hit, you wanted some shield to protect you until the other tank grabbed aggro. Also, it functions like a panic button. You don't have a lot of health, you have souls, but you're not gonna heal a lot, so you use this barrier instantly, and you're not gonna have any problems. The more souls, the more absorb. You can also go with Last Resort if you know that you're gonna get one-shotted at one point, let's say in a Mythic Plus Tyrannical, and you know a boss is really gonna one-shot you in a phase and you need to resist that. You can use Last Resort and it will trigger Metamorphosis instead of killing you, and you can use all the advantages in Metamorphosis like increased armor, increased resist, increased health, and obviously your sheer ability transforms and you can generate soul fragments and heal if you need more survivability. Now for legendaries, I used to go with Soul of the Slave because it granted me one more talent and I could use the talent Fist of Souls or Burning Alive depending if I needed more healing and more DPS. But I figured out a better legendary for tanking is Oblivion's Embrace. You will need in some scenarios that extra Demon Spike or that extra empowering ward. I found that helpful at the Argus fight. So I definitely recommend this legendary better than the Soul of the Slayer. Soul of the Slayer, I think it's better for DPS because it grants you the bleed effect, the bloodlet, and first blood single target increased damage. The legendary that has been irreplaceable for me is Archimonde Hatred Reborn. I love this trinket. It grants you a lot of absorb, and the absorb damage can be dealt to the enemy after it reaches its peak. So I recommend Archimonde Hatred Reborn in any MT+ scenario and even in raids. Again, this is my view, so people might want to use other legendaries depending on how they play the Vengeance Demon Hunter. So I'm going to show you a basic rotation for a tanking scenario using a Dungeoneer's tanking damage. So I usually start with Fire Rebrand for increased fire damage. I go with Immolate, and then I start. You see I got procced my Metamorphosis right there because I absorbed the Soul Shard. That's an artifact trait. I use Shear to the max so I can increase my Soul Shards. I put Spirit Bomb. You can see the debuff right here. Now I'm dealing more damage. I'm using Fracture a lot, to the point that I'm spamming it. Spirit Bombed again. Refreshing my Sigil. Continuing to damage him. In here I cannot show you the Infernal Strike ability, but we'll have to make do. So you see, my Immolation is out of cooldown, using Spirit Bomb again, jumping on him again. Trigger the Sigil of Flame. I can refresh it right here. Using my Demon Spikes when necessary, when I feel like I'm damaged. You can see I have 2 stacks of Empowered Wards, so whenever I need some magic resist, I pop this up. And if the boss strikes again, I can pop it again. So see, you pop Demon Spikes whenever you need parry chance and physical damage reduction. When you see the boss casting something magical powerful, use Empowering Wards. You have 2 stacks of these with the Oblivion Embrace legendary. Again, if you have a lot of Soul Shards, you can generate them too with the artifact ability. You can use Soul Barrier. You have a lot of shield. You can see here I have like 2 million damage absorption. No problem. I also recommend as a tanking trinket, the trinket from Agromar, I believe, is Smoldering Titan Guard. What this does, you channel, you absorb a lot of damage, and you return it. Same as Archimonde Hatred Reborn. And of course, if you have problems, you can use Archimonde Hatred Reborn, which will return the damage and absorb it. Very important, when you're in a Metamorphosis phase, do not use your pain consumption abilities. Use Shear, because it will grant you a lot of shards and it will help you build pain. When you build pain, use all the pain on Fracture, so you generate more souls, and with more souls you go Spirit Bomb again, and so on and so forth. Now for PvP. For honor talents. So for the first row, Gladiator's Medallion, I'm used to it. It's like you remove your impairing, of course you need it. For a second row, I go with either Tormentor, or you use your taunt and that target you use the taunt on will have increased damage taken. Or I usually go with Softened Blows, because when I go in a BG, I don't really fight as a Vengeance Demon Hunter. I go for the objective. I go either for the flag carry, for the cart carry, anything that involves speed and is helped by speed. On the third row, Reign of Chaos. Obviously, you have your normal talents in which you can jump a lot of times with your Infernal Strike. And you can increase the radius and slow your enemies. You really want that. If you slow your enemies, you gain another advantage. You can get that flag fast, you cannot be stopped. And you probably receive less CC. On the third row, I usually go with Reverse Magic because I want to dispel the roots on me. I want to dispel any dot I have on me so I can resist a lot until I carry the objective to the end. Let's face it, Vengeance Demon Hunters are not actually Blood DKs, but they're close. Cleanse by Flame, another Dispeller. This is like a flag carry spec. You want to dispel all the magic on you, slows, snares, dots, anything that could potentially harm you while carrying your objective. And obviously for the last row, for our speed, Demonic Trample. You activate this ability, you run like hell for 8 seconds. You cannot use any of your abilities, but you'll gain a lot of speed. If you run into someone, you're gonna knock them down, you're gonna stun them for like 2 seconds, I believe. And you're basically like a train. If you want a bit of an arena build, I usually go Tormentor on the second row, so I can deal more damage to the target I'm focusing. The same Reign of Chaos with the Infernal Strike, because I want to deal more damage and that radius is increased, so maybe I can get a rogue out of stealth or interrupt someone that is eating or something like that. Crazy stuff when you're doing 1v2. I have Letharge because you can damage the casters if they cast any harmful ability towards you, or Reverse Magic if you want more mobility so you can get closer to the targets and kill them. After that, Cleanse by Flame, I use it all the time. But if you go against melee, you might want to go Jagged Spikes, because you can return physical damage back to your enemies while absorbing your own. And for the last row, Eden's Grasp, because you can keep a target in place, move them in another place, and stun them for 3 seconds, which obviously is very good. When you have CCs, it's amazing. The enchants I use on my rings are Versatility, On my back is agility. I use Mark of the Trained Soldier on my neck to increase mastery. That helps me a bit with Demon Spike. So, I hope you guys found this helpful. I hope it helps you in your tanking journey. If you want to pick a Vengeance Demon Hunter, I hope it helps you in these high Mythic Plus scenarios. You can of course see the Mythic Plus fights sometimes in my Mythicality episodes or on my live streams. So if you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll help you the best way I can. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.